Woowoo Wednesday.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, there's not much of everybody. Well, good morning, ladies.
Yes.
Good morning.
Our friends are coming. I feel like we're coming.
It's not 10:03 yet. They've been at 10:03 for weeks. I feel like I just got an email from somebody from the thing, so I'm just looking to see if maybe it was an old email, but it just popped up an alert, so it was kind of weird. So this will be a second to check up on that.
Yeah. I was gonna say, while we get started, I know Kayla. I asked Kathy, I ambushed her. I drove up with the bus and said, "What do you want to talk about tomorrow?" And she's like, and I started rolling over her, and she suggested,
I'm losing you guys.
I'm like, "Oh, that's tomorrow."
So what are we talking about? Because it cut out for me. Sorry.
So Earthbound spirits, the ethics of crossing them over, when to not, when to leave them there. And I have a more drill sergeant approach. Kathy's a little more lenient on it. I think you fall a little in the middle.
Yeah, I kind of do whatever the situation. Some are go, like a little kid, you got to count,
right.
And other ones are come on, you want to, let's do this. Are you ready for this?
That's pretty much where I am too. I'm kind of with you, Kayla, on that. It's I'm right in the middle, but it depends on the situation. But I'm like you. If it's go, and then a lot of times for me, I feel like it's. And this is me personally. I'm not speaking for anyone else because everybody is entitled to their own opinion, but this is me. I feel as if crossing over is something that should be left to the heavenly body that handles that, whatever your belief is. Right. That's how I feel about it, that, it's not my place
well,
to do anything different. However, that doesn't mean that I disrespect people in any way for doing that, because that is their opinion, that is their beliefs, and I respect that. So, right. And then I also kind of cross but I also would allow it. So, but I would allow it in situations where it's dangerous.
Right.
And it can hurt people. Then it's okay, maybe, I got to contact Melissa. Hey, Melissa, right. This is going on. What do you think? Yeah. So that's kind of my belief.
Yeah. And trying to find, you're not going to take a native spirit that got trapped here and use something Catholic some obviously to convert to Christianity, but that's just not fair to do. So I guess it depends on your level of comfort and how you work, how you want to help the spirit transfer, or mine here, Eileen, that we, Irene, sorry. Her daughter-in-law was Eileen and she was Irene. But Irene, she actually wants to stay here and watch over the house. She loved this house. And I'm okay, you're mostly over on the other side. She just likes to, now it's farther and fewer between, but that's her choice. I'm not going to be no, you can't go now, or you can't stay kind of thing. She likes to come in and make sure the guys are doing what they're supposed to be doing in the house. So it's kind of funny. I'm you tell them, girl, you throw shit at them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, we've come across those situations too when we were investigating homes where, the people are there's stuff going on in our house and we don't know what it is. And I can talk about one case in particular. It ended up being the grandfather that was coming in. Now, he was scaring everybody in the house because they didn't know what was going on. And we actually got really, really good confirmation on this because we had an EVP that was very, very clear. And we took it to the homeowner, and the homeowner says, my grandfather used to say that. And then we took it to mom and uncle, and they confirmed the voice as their deceased father. So what we did was we went back and we're they don't mind if you stay here. Right. You can stay, but you're scaring them. Can you, quiet down, basically. Yeah. And then I told her,
that's all it takes. It's bringing awareness to who they are, and then they calm down. So
exactly. And that was 7 years ago, and she hasn't had an issue since. So there are different methods as well.
Right. And if they can come and go, you don't have to force them out. If they've learned their way back and forth, then that's all that really, I would
Yep.
be a wanderer too. I'd be here and gone, and I'd be doing all sorts of stuff. I don't want to be in one spot.
I'd be
Well,
popping in. Hi.
Well, I think we need to make the distinction right now because Kayla, I'm pretty sure when you say that you'd be popping around, you're going to cross over, come back, and go like visiting places, right?
Yeah.
So that would be the difference between an earthbound spirit
Yeah.
and somebody that's crossed over and is trying to make their presence aware.
Yeah. Or they don't have a choice to be stuck here, kind of thing. So
right,
Yeah.
because we
Right.
all have a choice at the end of whether or not we're going to cross into the light. And
some can't figure it out. Some literally get trapped. Some, you know,
they wait too
sometimes it's
long,
like-
that light disappears.
sometimes it's past life, like still like a karmic thing. Like their karma is not letting them go do things, so you still have to heal that stuff for them before they can do their. There's a lot to it. There's just a lot to it.
Yeah, I was going to say, and the years of working with Marianne, and she's been to so many places and so many situations. From what she's experienced, and so my understanding being is no matter what religion, race, continent, wherever there is some sort of white light that you go into. There's not a crucifix above it. There's not, any sort of denomination over that white light. Like it is for everybody. And whatever is your other side is what is on, this other side.
It's just there.
So-
It's unconditional. It's unbiased for everything. It's just there.
Yeah, right. So, so we're talking about the earthbound spirits, those who choose not to go in, be it they're afraid of what that other side looks like. They've done some pretty nasty things and they're choosing not to go in there because they don't want to have to pay for what they have done. I find that's a lot of Christians who are like, I am not going to this hell that I have had hung over my head because for whatever reason, I feel like I'm not worthy of anything but that. So the earthbound spirits, those who have not crossed over, and the ethics and when it's okay to force one over, let them go over, and here's like the good discussion, because I'm a little more hard-nosed about it than Kathy and Kayla. If they want to go, regardless of what type of energy, they can go over. If you are somebody who doesn't want to go, but you are looking in on little children, you are harming the family living there. If you are being an absolute pain in the ass, yeah, you're a menace, you're going over. And I know, Kathy, like one of your experiences or examples that you wanted to talk about was keeping a balance of good and not so good in a place. And, my mind was already to debate you on that. And I'm like, that is for tomorrow morning. So, and we'll see what happens too.
That's good, because I wanted to create a little bit of a debate on different feelings and what beliefs are. And I know that yours are different than mine, but that's okay. I completely respect you and Kayla both on whatever your theories are on this. Now, as far as for me and what you're talking about with the balance and stuff like that, as you all know, I work at the Ohio State Reformatory. The Ohio State Reformatory is very haunted. And when I became the program manager, hi Morgan, when I became the paranormal program manager there, it started escalating that there were bad things that were happening to people. People were being scratched and hit and stuff like that in this one area. And I actually talked to Melissa about it. I was like, something's going on there. I want to get your read on it. But that didn't happen because we both have such busy lives and everything. Well, I come to find out that there was some crossing over going on in the prison. Now, my thought with this, and again, this is theory. I have no proof of this, but this is my thought. This is my opinion. My thought was, okay, we're in a prison. Who were in the prison mainly? They were inmates. The inmates were in there and they weren't such nice people. Okay. They had their dark sides. You had rapists, you had murderers, later on when prison became, maximum prison. So you have those different emotions, those different personalities that are going on that are still trapped there because, like what you said, Melissa, they don't want to go to the other side because they don't know where they're going. I think that is a lot of it, that they're afraid to go. Now, with that being said, you also have the good people. And I hate labeling it good and bad. Let's just say positive energy. Okay, you have the negative energy and you have the positive energy. The positive energy of people that were working there, worked in administration, or the inmates that you never know that were put in prison and they were innocent. I mean, there can be all kinds of different positive energy that's going on in that place, but it's all energy. And once you remove a portion of that, if you remove the positive energy, the negative energy is growing and it's expanding. So my thought behind that is you have to have a balance in a location like that. You have to have positive and negative to balance it up, out, and keep it on level grounds. But with that being said, too, the other flip side to that, is that the case? Or is it, I'm pissed. They're moving everybody out of here except for me. Why are they not? I'm going to lash out. I'm going to scratch people. I'm going to this. So there's actually two sides to that. Is it balance that you have to keep? Or is it we're angering them because we're moving on some and not them? So it's really an interesting theory. But one thing I will say, I had a conversation with the person that was actually crossing spirits, and told her she's not like Melissa. Melissa is very qualified, in my opinion, to be able to do that. She knows the ins and outs. Sometimes when you get somebody in there that doesn't know what they're doing, they might be causing harm. That's just my thought. And in this case, I kind of think that happened. So when she stopped, all of that negative stuff stopped. So the balance came back. Now, did it come back because they weren't pissed off anymore? Or did it come back because the balance of positive and negative energy? I found it very interesting.
And
but
she could have been using a method they didn't agree with, like that they're like forcing them with a way they didn't agree. Like you could have 6 spirits in an area and maybe 3 of them all have like one way that they want to be crossed over or helped out. And the other ones, might have 3 individual ways that they want to be worked with. And if you're forcing them to do something, that's like, nothing against Jehovah's Witnesses, but this is like the analogy I always use. When they come and knock on your door, most people shut the door in their face because they don't want to hear it. They don't believe in it. Why are you knocking on my door to force something onto me that, you're basically trying to force this at us? And the spirit kind of does the same thing. They just slam the door. Like, no, thank you. I don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. And if they stand there, they keep knocking on the door, ringing your doorbell, they don't go away, you're eventually going to open the door and scream at these people to get off your porch. So spirits no different when you're trying to do things with them. You still have to hear from them. And there's definitely, I think we've all encountered it where people come in and they think they know what they are doing because they watch some YouTube videos and some TikTok videos, and they're going to go smudge everything and move spirits around and end up sending them places they shouldn't be, which is upsetting to them too. That's no different than kidnapping. You're spiritually kidnapping somebody. You're like kidnapping their energy and putting it somewhere else if you don't know how to really cross them over. There's a lot of reasons for spirit to get upset for that, and for it to upset energy in buildings, locations, for the land, all sorts of things.
I agree with that. I agree with what you're saying, Kayla, and everything, because that, it can be very upsetting to them. It's no different than going into the place and yelling at them and provoking them and trying to get them to respond to you. It's a disrespect.
Yeah, definitely.
In a way. Now,
and it can make it harder for people of us that know what we're doing to come in. Like, it's almost like a bigger cleanup job. It's not to
exactly
as cleanup, but then you're kind of sometimes you really have to work with that spirit to help them repair from the damage this other person just did. They might come back traumatized because they got sent to the wrong place, or they only got like half like there's so many things that happen. And when you have people that come, because I think we all have friends that are just like, oh, I know how to do this, I know how to do that. And it's like, there's a difference between thinking you know how, and not to sound egotistical for all of us, but I think after years, and Melissa's known me since like early on in my doing this publicly, it's hard to actually say like what you're doing and like put that out there and be like, no, I really am really good at what I'm doing. It is hard to say that for a lot of us versus the people that come in, I'm the best at this and blah blah blah. I think we've all run into where that's usually kind of the reverse case. Kind of end up having this like cleanup duty or having to rebalance a lot of things, and it's not fair to the people, homeowners, the buildings, locations, when you have really amateurs coming in to do this. It definitely creates other issues.
Just invite them in and they're crazy. They'll never come back. As you were going through your example, Kathy, like so many extra questions that I feel like this whole one could just be an episode on itself. Because
part 1 and part 2.
Right. The prison wasn't always just a prison. So you have other history, other energies, also feeling like the land itself is tired of having nothing but within since, was it mid 1900s, it became the permanent prison?
It was 1886, and then it was finished with both cell blocks in 1910.
So,
but you're right. There was history to that location too, because it was a Civil War camp prior to that, but before that, it was Native American land. And I did a little bit of research. Huh?
I said we'll get into that.
Yeah. So there's.
So I have a question about the native land thing, if it's okay, or we could just turn this into a whole nother topic. I'm going to throw it out there, and maybe we make this whole nother thing.
All I want to say real quick is a lot of Native peoples were migratory. So every square inch of this land is Native American land, and they died along the way.
Yeah.
I find it hard to say this bit right here has nothing buried under it. There's no human bones right here if you dig deep enough.
There's everywhere in some regard.
I'm like, stop it with the native burial ground.
There was wars, there was natives, there was so many things. You can pretty much guarantee you're walking on bodies everywhere you're walking at this
Dead
point.
bodies everywhere, like the Torn song,
right?
Dead bodies everywhere. But so the land. Kathy, I don't know how much you guys got into the whole with the online versus person shaman program, because you have sat through some of the training, and I only say some of because he changed it by the time you did it versus when I did it, and realizing some things were left out, other things were added. So that's the only reason why I say some, not to discredit you. You have Pachamama, the whole earth. She is her own entity, but then little spots like your home is a mini Pachamama. So the land that both prisons, because you have the old prison and then you can throw a rock and hit the new prison, 2 mini Pachamamas and then a slightly bigger Pachamama. That land is like, would you quit sending me your worst fucking energy and plopping it here? So here comes humans. We are dumping the worst of our worst right here. We are not thanking you for taking care of it. We are not saying, would you mind? And by the way, here's a thank you. So at times I wonder how much of the bad inside is really Earthbound's versus that land, like, knock it off.
Yes.
And was this person, depending on what they were doing, how they were doing it, maybe they were upsetting the spirits. Was she trying to incorporate some sort of grounding and connecting and pulling the energy of these people in with the ground, but not doing it correctly? Like, I have so many questions on what she was doing, how and why. I personally don't believe keeping an equal amount of positive and negative to keep it balanced, because in my mind you move those negative asses over and you're going to be neutral or positive, because let's face it, you remove one negative, here comes another, right? There's always another one. Same thing with positive, you just have to know where to look. So I don't do the whole we can't cross them over even though they want to, because we'll disrupt the balance. If positive or negative wants to go over, they go over. If it feels neutral, but I've got somebody over there who I know has been messing with kids, have been making people sick, I don't care about your balance, because that one needs to go. And it will rebalance.
The land's not, the land spirit, right? But it's not the same as a human soul spirit. So there's definitely a difference with that too. And like you said, the land, that's one of the first things I check is this really tied to the land, or is it actually the location and the spirits there? Because, so I definitely agree with the nomadic native part, right? We were everywhere. I have native lineage, all that. So, but there's definitely areas. So as society evolved, right? Civilization evolved, they definitely got put into reservations. They got put into these areas. And I've noticed that areas where they were confined to not have their lifestyle, and there were some that were not as nomadic, like my lineage was not as nomadic as other tribes were. But there's definitely areas, if the prison was built on a burial ground, which so many people say they are, but there are areas that were actual designated burial grounds when they started becoming more Christian based, that kind of thing. So there is kind of a difference with that too, how locations react if they're built on, or even another family's cemetery with spirit, those kind of things. There are definitely things, and that's not every situation, but sometimes, I'm not sure if you noticed that, but those areas that have those things kind of going on, or if it was an area they used for more ritual things that they would congregate to over time, right? It was a seasonal thing. They would come to do their, spring blessings there for crops, whatever. And if the prison happens to be built close to that or on that area, it changes the dynamic of the energy from the land and that standpoint too. Not just oh, there was native land here, but you're kind of messing up the energy they put into the earth and used from the earth by putting a structure there. So I don't know if that really makes sense. But
yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to the negative and the positive energy a little bit.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so all have our differences, right? It really is
and this goes back to what we're talking about. A person doing it that really doesn't know how to.
Yeah.
Bottom line. And as this was being done, it was being done supposedly moving those positive spirits on. She, according to what her belief was, she was leaving the others alone. Now, whether or not the balance is there, it has stopped since she stopped doing that. Now, I completely agree that if a spirit is to go, it will go. And that goes back to my belief of when it's your time to move on, you are going to move on. However, there are those times that you need to be encouraged to move on. I'm not going to do that because I'm not qualified, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm qualified.
Like that person that doesn't want to leave the party, right? Everybody else left, and they're just hey.
Yeah,
so just sleep over. It's no.
And then getting back to the Native American thing, there is some of that going on at the reformatory too. We call them the creepy crawler. It's very interesting. I was told it's an elemental. And I have actually had an experience with this thing too. It's on the 3rd floor, and I'm going to take you up there one day, Melissa. Up on the 3rd floor, and he has been seen by multiple people at different times. And he's gray, and he's kind of hunched over a little bit, and he will get down on all fours and crawl. But he's always on the 3rd floor, and I'm not understanding why on the 3rd floor. But he's been seen actually crawling on the floor and up the sides of the walls and stuff like that. So I do believe that there is some activity from prior history on the land, as well as what took place inside the prison, because there was a lot of things that went on. But
Mhm.
that is, so that's kind of where I stand a little bit. And I can't remember if it was you, Melissa, or not, but I think it was. It might have been you and Hank telling me I should make an offering to the
Mhm.
land. Yeah. So I haven't done that, but after hearing you talk about Native American land and everything, how it's everywhere, and I agree with you, I should do that. So I
Mhm.
will.
I mean, my first thought is if I'm a spirit I am going to get down low and do the exorcist walk and scare the hell out of people, if nothing else for my own amusement.
Right.
And then I'm also like, how cool that physics do not apply.
Right.
I can climb the wall.
What was that movie? Flubber, whatever that. Remember the green blob thing? You just like make yourself into like.
Yeah, I'm like, all the cool stuff I
That's
can
the
do.
thing. There's
here.
not always. It's just because something acts creepy and dark. They're not always creepy and dark. Like they can be messing with you. Can there be things from other realms and other dimensions and planets and all these? Yeah, there definitely can be. But people can also mess with you. I mean, I've been called to some cases like, oh my god, there's like poltergeist. This is horrible. And these are and like. Yeah, so your uncle was a real prankster and was always doing things and scaring people, and this is like literally your uncle. Like, you know, and, like it's okay. And then like once he's called out, once the spirit's kind of called out, they're like, oh, okay. And the spirit's like, oh darn, I was finally like, they caught me. So I mean, it definitely can. They're again, my general statement to this is because people always hope we have these like quick answers, these all-encompassing answers. There's never going to be an all-encompassing, cut and dry, simple answer for any of this stuff. There just isn't.
Well, and I want to point out real quick, and then we'll get to, because there's a couple people have asked about animals and whether or not they're earthbound. Elementals and land spirits versus earthbounds. Earthbounds can be crossed over, elementals cannot, because they aren't dead. Yeah. So if you think you have an elemental, do not go out yourself or bring in somebody to cross them over, because now you are going to piss them off. That would be taking a live person, throwing them in the coffin and being like, here's what you go do now, because that's how I understand you to be. And it's not correct. So that's where you have to make nice and figure out what the land is trying to tell you, what they need. How are they being disrespected? What energies are they needing?
Or even in situations, I might be cutting you off because everything froze.
Yeah. And making sure whether elemental versus fae, because that's a fine line. You got to walk with them fae.
Well, that's like right? Like if it's
although according to all the fairy smut books, you want to walk into that mushroom circle and be taken off by that handsome, sensual.
I mean, things do get blocked out of portals that they belong to or realms that they belong to. Like sometimes it just happens. Right? Like, I mean, it's kind of like the equivalent of us accidentally locking ourselves out of our car or our house. Sometimes it does happen, or they get distracted. Like, they'll be like, shiny thing, and they get distracted and forget kind of where they came to. Not all of them, but so things like that kind of happen too. But crossing them over like a spirit is not going to go well. It's not going to work. Yeah. It's not going to help anybody. It's going to upset things.
Yeah.
Melissa, I really like the way that you described the elemental. I think that was because people don't understand what an elemental is, and you described that perfectly. And I think that for people that aren't understanding the different dimensions, I guess if you want to call it, that it actually helped me to understand even better what an elemental is, and it's a different type of respect I shouldn't say working with, but being around an elemental. And then the fae. Well, yes, we've had experiences with the fae, and I think the fae I have to be careful because I think they're really cool.
Yeah, be careful. Whereas I'm usually cussing them out in the storm, like, give it back.
To understand them too.
Quit stealing my shit. Give it back.
Well, she stole that pearl.
Yeah, and then put it in a closed candle across the store. See, this is me and the fae. We have a love-hate relationship. So Chris, who is a medium and works a lot with animals, she's like, in my experience, animals do not stay as earthbound. They seem to cross over, but they'll come back and hang around. And according to Marianne, it is more cats that will become more earthbound, because you ain't going to tell the cat what to do. And if they don't want to go, they don't want to go. And if their human's still alive, they're going to wait till they're human, you
Yeah.
know. And she's had a hard time trying to get a cat to cross over, to the point where if she's, I think she, like a couple of her stories were going out to a home that was having issues and needing to cross this over. Here's this cat. She's like, I have to hope that there's a human that wants to cross over that's willing to pick that cat up and march them through the light, because the cat is just going to do what it wants. And I'm like, yeah, as they do.
That's how cats are. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, dogs, you can pick up a toy off the floor and like toss it in the direction and off they go, because, you know, dogs be dogs.
Like Loki kind of, so he's still around a lot, even my one other cat, but Loki's definitely around a lot, because as we all know, he was not cat. He was just stuffed in a cat body, and for this journey and this part of the life. But I can tell when like Nacho's irritating him with like how Nacho's being towards me. Like, so when I just had my surgery, right? Nacho's usually a very cuddly cat, even though he's like a Tasmanian devil any other time of the day. But when something's wrong or somebody doesn't feel well, he's the first person to go, or the first cat to go cuddle with a person when they're not doing well. And I can tell when Loki's around, because he won't come anywhere near me. And I can feel like Loki's energy. Everybody swore Loki was an angel stuffed into a cat body. Like everybody that met him was like, he's literally an angel. Like you can just see it radiating off of him. And yeah, he was like the best boy ever. But so you can tell he's like, nope, I'm protecting this human right now, even though people can't physically see me. This is like my domain. I'm protecting, I'm healing, I'm doing my thing, go away. And Nacho will just be sitting on the floor like, when's it my turn? But it's just kind of funny because, you know, again, they don't cross over. He's doing what he wants to do when he wants to do it, and helping out.
Yeah, I'm a cat fan. Dogs are cool. I'm allergic to dogs, so yeah, I'm a cat fan.
Ditto. Yeah, that's kind of my
and I'm the opposite. Well, not the opposite as far as like I like them both, but I'm allergic to cats. Which was really, this is kind of okay. I'm going off the beaten path here. When my mother-in-law was sick, she had a kitty, her cat Kitty, and when she was sick, she wanted us to take Kitty. And she moved in with us for a little while. And we're like, we can't take Kitty. Kathy's allergic to cats. That cat sat in my lap before she had passed, sat in my lap every night, and I never sneezed once. So I was like to my husband, I said, we're supposed to have her. We're supposed to keep her. So we did. We kept her for Mom. So I thought that was real cool. But I have another story going back. Before Kitty, there was Mittens, I think was her name. I probably got the name wrong, but it was another cat that she had. And this cat was an orange cat. Kitty was a black cat, tuxedo cat.
I'm an orange cat girl.
I do too. But she had that cat, and that cat had passed. And she would experience, feeling like the cat would jump on her bed, or she would hear meowing and stuff like that. And even Greg's sister, my sister-in-law, was there one time, and she felt a cat jump on her bed. Well, after my mother-in-law had passed away, it was me, my husband, my daughter-in-law, and my grandson, who was 3 at the time. We went to her trailer to clear it out. And as soon as we walked in, Connor, my grandson, goes, Kitty! And he takes off running to the bathroom. And we're just not paying attention to it. We got a job to do. We're going to go in there and start cleaning. So we're cleaning stuff. And all of a sudden he comes out and he says, something freaky just happened to me. And we all went, what? Freaky, tell. And he said, this is what happened. And he ran back, and we followed him. And he went into the bathroom, and she had a big garden tub. He goes, I was doing this. And he gets in the tub and he's spinning, right? He goes, and then I did this. And he got out, and he sat down on the step, and he goes, and then something furry was rubbing up against my legs. It was freaky.
Oh,
we said, now he's never been around an orange cat. He's only been around black cats. So we asked him, what color was the cat? Orange.
Oh.
So that experience, because 3-year-olds don't lie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. So,
I will say, just from Marianne, in the years, you two ladies, other people that I know that do investigations, I have yet to have any of you come to me and be like, this house looked and acted like it was poltergeist ridden, but it was just a really, active dog or cat or any sort of pet. Like, it's always a human being a jerk. It's never been an animal.
Not just over here, like, hold my catnip, because when I die, I'm going to make poltergeist.
And I like to think of it as because, like, when the animal passes, whether or not, if you were a horrible pet owner, and at that point, I'm like, you don't get to call them a pet. They just want away from you. Their mind doesn't, and Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong, since you talk with them. They're not like, I'm going to come back and get revenge. They just want to get away to where it's better.
Because those feelings are human emotions. Like, people pass with like, I can't wait to come, but like, animals don't have those egos and emotions like we do.
Yeah, it's like, Chris, have you gone out to a house and it's a horse in the middle of the living room kicking on the walls that make it sound like knocking? Is it, the cat scratching?
I mean, if there's a horse out there kicking or a donkey, I want to hire that thing.
a Nike, Mike. How are you? I'm sure they'll be like, what is that? I'm like, I know it. It's Quechua.
Right. Okay.
Like, I don't see Sith coming back and being a pain in the butt. If anything, he might be like, it is 7, come feed me later. But I don't see him.
Dog from my house like has tried to kill me a few times. But that's like what all small dogs and cats do, how they get under your feet when you're walking. Well, I guess any animal. You're carrying something, you're walking. It's like, oh, that's definitely a dog. I do not own a dog, but here I am falling over a dog with my arms full. So
it's funny, Kathy. I don't know if you ever came out to the Holistic Health and Healing Expo that Hank and I used to do. Kayla, I know you were out there as a vendor.
So unfortunately, I did not.
Okay.
You got to do it again so I can, though.
Oh my God, no. No. I was vendor coordinator, Hank Wrangler. I'm like, COVID killed everything. He's like, are you ready to come back? And I'm like, let it die. Like, COVID's a good excuse to let it die. Because I almost killed him every year because of the changes he would, anyway, off topic. But there were a couple times running around in that building because, again, vending coordinator, and I also had my own booth and wrangling the volunteers up there with ticket taking and all of this stuff. I would be walking and all of a sudden, like, my like mid shin, I'd stumble, and my first thought was like dog. And then I'm like, wait, there are no dogs. Because in my mind, somebody had a support animal, and my first thought was like, oh my God, I am so sorry. And I'm like, there's no dog, and then continue on. And later on, I'm like, what the hell? And I finally remember to ask Marianne, and I'm like, am I crazy or am I tripping over mid-sized animals? She goes, no, there's a couple dogs running around in here. And it turned out, like, the weekend before, they had done a dog show in the building. And then my first thought was like, oh, you guys didn't go home with your people, or you had so much fun that you're hanging out with these guys and you're going to go home when this crowd, leaves. So like, I don't have the pleasure of being able to see them. It's more of like they bump into me or I bump into them. I know what it is.
Yeah, and it's like unmistakable though. It really is.
Yeah. If you accidentally walked into or had an animal brush up, like, what that feels like. And you'll know the difference between a cat doing it and a dog doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting, but never ever has a house being haunted, terrorized, insert whatever synonym you want, has it ever been an animal. It has always been a jerk of a human.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I'm like, I don't care, you're either leaving this property by like leaving the front door, or you're going over and you're going to answer for some whatever is on the other side for you. Like, you are not going to keep tormenting this family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I come in like the drill sergeant. And I feel like, Kathy, you're a little more of like, well, we can't force them. And Kayla, I think it depends, right?
Oh,
And I'm like,
this
no,
cut
they
out. I
own
heard my
the
name, sort
Now,
of.
Yeah.
see, now I
What
would
was
kind
that?
of,
What did you?
I,
What was the part that followed that?
I would disagree on that a little bit because in those situations, I think it's warranted because they are causing turmoil within the home. They're causing probably harm. And as long as not me, I'm not going to do it because that's just not what I do. But if there's somebody qualified like you, Melissa, and Kayla, I don't know, do you cross people over too or not? Okay. So if it's the two of you, you two are qualified to do that. You guys know what you're doing. And if it's in those situations, I agree with that. I think the asshole needs to move.
Yeah.
I need, especially if it involves children.
Yeah.
However, in my paranormal experience in private homes, they've usually been somebody they know. And if they're not causing that discomfort, they're just there. And educating them to understand that, it helps them to be able to live with that. Personally, I've been very, very fortunate that I've never run across one of those assholes because God only knows what I might do. Because I would be pissed.
Yeah. See, but that's another thing though, like that having to like how you'd want to handle it as a human versus how you have to handle it like on spirit level is so hard because there's times that I'm just like I as a human would like to pound the crap out of you. However, that's not how to then like calming yourself back down and be like, okay, this is what I have to do to actually resolve the situation, take care of this and take care of the living people. But it really is hard when you have to deal with some shady, horrible humans that are stuck here.
Interesting. I'm going to go back and make myself a liar. There have been times that I have come across those people, but they've never been in private homes. They're usually in locations like the prison. Okay. There have been those situations, and I stand firm. I stand firm. Like there was one time that I was grabbed inappropriately up in the attic, and I put my foot down. And I wasn't screaming or anything like that. I was just very firm. And you are not allowed to touch me that way. You need to back off right now. Mm-hmm. And he did. So I'm a liar.
Yeah. Well, it's not your normal, right? So there's situations, it's not really a liar. It's just like a situation. It wasn't a common thing. Honestly, coming across some really nasty spirits like that has actually changed me personally, how I deal with things on my human personal life, like things that I would have been like a lot more like, I don't want to say fighting, not like in a fight ring or whatever, but like things that I would have snapped at sooner. I'm more like, what's their energy story here? And like how I approach how I'm dealing with it. Not to be super passive, but I feel like it's almost made me too passive about some things, like how I tolerate certain relationships or encounters in my own life, because I almost kind of take that mindset of, oh, how do I process this to help the person, the spirit kind of thing. And I'm like, no, that's actually one of my goals for 26 is like not to let that cross over to my human personal interactions. Like sometimes you don't have to have that tolerance like you do with spirit. So
making sure I'm all caught up on questions, comments. Yeah, I think the prison versus a home is a good example of extremes of how to handle some of those. I'm going to be drill sergeant either way. In my mind, the prison, you have people who are coming in to visit the museum and they deserve to be safe. They're paying to come in to support the prison. They should not have to worry about being groped, being pushed, scratched, what have you. But I also, a side note, like how many of those ghosts are really with Mansfield Reformatory versus the building that's got hundreds of living people all the time that they get energy from, and they just come over to mess every now and then.
Yeah. And the things that people bring with them on their own to the locations.
Yeah.
Like, everywhere I go is haunted. It's like, no, it's just you. It's just you bringing all the stuff with you everywhere you go.
versus like a home. You buy a home, it's supposed to be safe. It's supposed to be nurturing. It's supposed to be, your safe space to come home to after school, after work, after vacation.
Irene's over here going, it's supposed to have carpet. That's why she gets mad at me. My house doesn't have carpet, and she liked carpet.
And like in your case, Kayla, you've got an old lady who used to own the property, and now she's the problem. And that's where I would be like, I own this now. You have passed. This is not your say anymore. You do not get to bully me in how I live on property that I purchased. You can cross over or cross the street and stay gone. Like, you don't get to be a jerk just because you're dead.
She's become, now that we've finished our home repairs and remodel things and we've reestablished our boundaries, now she's kind of nice to have around because she's very, she's kind of anti-guys. So she kind of checks out guys when they come to the house.
And I'm like, now she's standing there listening, watch her mess with me the next time I come visit you. Because she's always been cool with me. And now that she heard me say all of this, watch her be like, it's on.
Well, it's kind of like the more I was like, okay, now's your time to go. Okay, now's your time to go. It's like, she was kind of like, let me earn my stay. Let me stay here, please. What can I do to kind of and she's not here 24/7, but she definitely likes to pop in, and it's usually for a couple days at a time when she does. But it's like, she definitely made this effort to be like, okay, I know I was a complete jerk, and she was just a crotchety, nasty, old, smell like stale smoke woman, which she still smells like. But she was so crotchety and horrible to deal with. But now she's just kind of nice and how can I be of assistance to you? I will definitely I'll throw things at men when they come in the house, no problem.
It's like, I just recently saw an article. Maybe you saw it, Kathy, because it was from a local news station about Ohio's castle law, or the stand your ground and what you're allowed to do. And I'm like, you know what? This for me carries over into the paranormal afterlife. I'm standing my ground on my property. Mm-hmm. If that was a live person doing that, I would have justification. Just because you're dead doesn't mean you get a pass. And that's where I'm like, I'm the hard nose, I'm the drill sergeant, I'm the steel-toed, boot to the ass, where you ladies are a little more like, well, let's talk about it. And I'm like, go figure it out over there and quit taking it out on these people.
Well, so Irene helped me from the beginning, though, because she came to me before I bought my house and told me her family was really greedy and they would take anything for the house. And I really, really made a lowball offer. I actually almost felt bad offering what I offered for the house. But she told me, I'm going to die in 4 days. If you make a cash offer, they'll accept anything. And so, I kind of felt that was before we had any interaction. I literally came and looked at the house and that was that, right? I wasn't even sure. And then she came and told me that. And that's kind of where it became okay, you did me a favor and you were right, and cool, thanks, and cool, hang out for a little bit. But then it became, you should have carpet, you should have this. I'm going to break your light bulbs because I would want you to have carpet. And, so it was those kind of things. But then after a time, we kind of found we get along now, and she's allowed to come back and visit when she wants to. She just can't stay here all the time. So, but I let that be her choice, so.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to say, okay, the kind side of me, instead of the going right at it type of thing. You're right. I mean, when I walk around the prison and I know there's going to be some type of investigation going on that night, people are coming in, I walk around and I'm like, hey guys, there's somebody going to be coming out with about 14 people tonight. Make sure you show them a little bit of activity. And I'm walking around and hey, like that. So yeah, I do that a lot. I'm like, okay.
But it becomes your normal, right? There are things that I didn't really pay attention to until Melissa making me talk about certain things, because it is just kind of your normal everyday flow. So you don't realize it's a different, it's not everybody's reality or how they go about things. So
yeah, and then on the flip side of it, when those people come in, they also have rules. I tell the guys, be nice, so forth. But the people that are the assholes that are coming in, it's don't provoke. Be respectful. 2 key things. Do not provoke. Be respectful. If they're provoking and they're being disrespectful, and I tell them this, what happens to you, and you deserved it.
No, I agree with that too.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see the fine line of like giving them a heads up, like, here comes these people. Please give them, a show, if you will, because that help keeps you guys open, right? The
Right.
more ghost tours. So if you guys like this building, help us by doing this, but behave while doing it. No groping, no fondling, no pushing down the stairs, no, pushing out the window. But at the same time, I agree. If the humans are coming in and acting like a certain TV personality who roid rages at the ghosts, if you fall down the stairs, you fall down the stairs, you ask for it. Like, that respect goes both ways.
Exactly.
And I think, like, Kathy, your core group of your Earthbound spirits, like, they know what's going on. They're enjoying it. They're liking it. They're, and I feel like any of the bad nuggets coming over are probably coming over from that prison. That's
That wouldn't
active.
surprise me. I think you're probably right on that, because there's a lot of bad energy over there. Oh my gosh, a lot. Yeah, so you're probably spot on.
I mean, all the times that I have been at Mansfield, it's weird because we were like, don't you? And I'm like, no. So either it's just not enough for me to register, or again, they can't kind of keep a wide berth. But the few times that I've gone upstairs and just kind of looked at that other one and felt it out, I'm like, I'm like, there's not enough Florida water to take care of that building right now. You could put Florida water in a fire truck and hose that building down, and it's not going to do anything. So, I'm like, cool, yay. But, friends in the audience, if you have any other questions about Earthbound spirits, how they work, how they don't, and maybe we could do a side topic, because I know, Kayla, you brought it up. It's like using certain religious practices for crossing over certain types of spirits. And it's like, well, how do you fumble through then if you don't know? Like, Kayla, you can't make it out to their house. Well, how do they help that spirit?
Remote work is for.
It's like and like Chris, she's got an Amish guy out in her barn helping with the horses, and I still want you to go talk to him, Chris, and find out what he thinks of the afterlife now that he's dead and he's in it. Like, you're not going to go to an Amish guy with a rites of passage, and forgive me anybody if I'm saying this wrong, for like the Jewish faith, right? That means nothing to them. That he's not going to honor that. So it's like figuring out the right ways to do it. And I guess there's going to be certain religions that don't have those rituals.
I mean, I would totally be that spirit to be like, nope, not that one. Nope.
Yeah.
Not that one. Try again.
I'm just sitting back with my feet up on your desk going, that one ain't right either. Keep going. Keep going. I'm going to knock this cup off. Like,
they have a little spirit.
To amuse myself.
This is all interesting because it also tags along with when you're investigating, not just crossing over and the different techniques and everything. Our team is diverse. We aren't like, oh, you have to be religious, you have to believe in God, you have to believe in Hecate, you have to do this, you have to do that. No, you are who you are, and you bring the skill level that is needed to be able to help people. That's it.
And you need that. You need the diversity.
Exactly, because of exactly what you're talking about. If we are going into a location, we'll say Jewish because you brought up the Jewish religion, we don't want to send a Wiccan in there, right? We want to send somebody that they can relate to. So it's the exact same thing. And I never thought about that until you brought that up.
And there's another complication.
Crossing over is the same way. Interesting.
I've only run into this like a couple times with helping people pass, like in and the life things, but also with spirit. Their belief system, well, okay, that's a lie too, because I had a lady with fertility issues that this crossed over into also, as far as healing work goes. But just because you have a belief system here in this lifetime doesn't actually mean it's like your full belief system, or something happened in a past life that you still have to like make up that life lesson for. And if you don't heal that based on like what that belief system was in that point in time in your life, or maybe your soul level, you are like, why was I so Catholic? I don't agree with this. As you're passing, right? Like all of a sudden you think you want these things and then it like just doesn't resonate with you anymore. So that's kind of like another tricky part too, is like just because somebody did believe in something doesn't always mean it's actually right for them for something else. And that was the case with the fertility thing. She was a very racist woman, and it was an African fertility goddess that came through for her. And she was like, what? Like, and she was so like just not having it, but that's what it took, was having this African fertility goddess to come through. So sometimes just because people think they believe in something or it's right for them, including the spirit side, it's not always that's holding them up. Sometimes it's tied to something else that they weren't aware of. So a whole other complication for another time.
Yep.
Well, sometimes it's like a lot of people don't get to choose their first religion.
Yeah.
Right.
And you are taught it as a child from your parents, and maybe as you are passing and spirit things are happening, maybe some aha moments are coming through, and maybe those rites of passage for what you were doing all your life doesn't feel correct anymore, because now you're seeing, some other stuff. Right. So, I myself was lucky that, being the Army brat, and it was kind of funny watching those churches like every hour change the whole inside, because it was one building, one church, but it recognized everybody and how quick they could change everything up by that pulpit area. And my parents never said no in letting me go try out different services with different friends, and and seeing similarities yet differences. And here I am. This is what I chose to be after dabbling in things, right? Still technically confirmed Catholic. They haven't excommunicated me. They didn't notice I slid out the side door.
They can't track down your mystery DNA. That's why. No.
Yeah, right. Right. So, it's always been interesting. In thinking about crossing spirits over and those type of things. And it's like the different religions, the different things that come on, and how to know which one is correct. And then it also makes me think about like the horror stories of Catholicism, exorcisms, and everything that don't go right, and the person ends up dying. And I'm like, well, is that because they were either truly possessed and the spirit wasn't really a demon, or a Christian-based demon? It was something else, and everything you're throwing at them means nothing to them, and you're just pissing them off? Or was it a walk-in spirit who was of a different faith, and they're laughing at you? And while you have, the living
that's more common than people think, that walk-in situation. It really is.
It's all very interesting to me, from more of like a study level. Like I would love to go audit. I think it's Akron, University of Akron. They do like an exorcism like type class, like the study on it. And every now and then they have Marianne come out and speak. I'm like, the next time you go, bring me with you. Because it's just so interesting to me. And like, who decided these prayers work? Like, what was the trial and error to know that this was the one you had to say X amount of times for this effect? Like, it is so interesting.
Always that amount of times? Is it always like I've been called into work on cases after exorcisms has made things worse or not done anything at all for the reasons we're talking about. So they're like, but we had an exorcism. I'm like, that's great. I appreciate that. However,
like, first of all, I'm impressed you got one, because it's hard to get the Catholic Church to do one, period.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other
where
question.
I'm
like,
going
was
with
this
this.
real? And that's the other part of it, is like, okay, so you requested this and this happened, but was it like an authentic, or was it like somebody just dressed up that came in and said, I'm doing this exorcism in your house? That's like a whole nother ordeal, right?
This would be an excellent topic that we need to expand on more, because there's so many different avenues with this. My question is the exact same thing. How did you get an exorcism? And then when you said that there's a class being taught on exorcism, who are these being taught to?
It's not like how to be an exorcist. It's like part of a religious study. And I forget how many parts of it are exorcism, but it's like the history, the study, the methodology, but you're not learning to be an exorcist.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
And this is where I'm like, if we decide to talk on this, Kathy, I'm asking you because you put on the parapsychon, so you might have more contact, but correct me if I'm wrong, Kayla. Like, do you know an exorcist who could join us, be it Catholic or, and I give the side eye to those who are not of the church who claim to be exorcists. And I'm like, but are you really?
I lost you again. Sorry. I don't know if you guys can still hear me. But
if you know somebody who could speak on this from the standpoint of this is what they do.
I do not. I kind of keep arm's distance of all the things. But
I know some people that say they do, but I don't know them well enough to say they do.
Okay.
You don't have the first-hand experience of their work. Yeah.
Yes, I have never looked further than what they're saying. So if I were to do that, I would look further and I would research this and I would find somebody that I'm comfortable with bringing on the show. But right now, I cannot say, oh, yeah, definitely this person.
Yes, because I like us to present good factual, like we're not just talking out of our butt. So I'm like, if we get into something heavy like exorcism, I want somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. Right. I'm not close enough to anybody. I've just been told, like, but we had an exorcism and we had this and we had this stuff happen. And, we called forth this. And it's like, okay, but I don't know the places and the people that they reached out to. I don't know their work. No. So for me, I just come in as a blank slate. Like, they try to prove that they had this much work done for something. And to me, it's just like, I hear it. I take it all in. I have my compassion for it, but I start from where I need to start from anyway.
Good.
So I guess I just kind of have never really made the connections to the churches and the people for that because it doesn't change what I do, I guess.
Yeah, that's good that you do that you come in with a clean slate, because that concerns me that people are claiming that they've had exorcisms and stuff. That kind of concerns me a little bit. And I think there's a lot of people out there that claim they do this stuff and they're doing damage. Yeah. So kudos to you. Kudos to you, Kayla, for stepping in and coming in.
I hope there's a lot more of us out there that do that. Yes. I hope. But even for healing wise, when people come in for healing work, well, I've already had this done. I've already had that done. Okay. I appreciate that. That's good. But I'm starting all over. You're a blank slate to me. It's just, and I think that's a big thing for a lot of the energy, spiritual work in general. Is just if somebody new comes to you or you're working with a new place situation, I hate finding out any information about a place or a person before I work with them. I know some people like to share their part for the emotional sake of sharing their experiences, their physical ailments. That part's great. But knowing any other stuff is kind of like, nope, you're a blank slate, and whatever I'm told for you or the place or whatever is kind of where you start with it, because kind of, no offense, it kind of doesn't matter what other people experience. If it didn't help and it didn't do anything, I don't need to know about it.
Right.
So, yeah. I just made a little list of topics here for us ladies. Maybe instead of taking up people's time here, we can just make a group chat and maybe figure out some other topics going forward of things that we kind of touched on through this.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. To both friends in the audience, if you have any last minute questions or comments, please share.
And yes, Amy, I will talk about what you emailed me. So we'll talk about it in our little private chat over here and figure out what to do with that.
Because Kathy, I heard your phone going off. People are looking for you for work. Kayla, you're always busy as well. And our palette finally showed up yesterday afternoon. So, I've got crystals waiting
for Valentine's Day of 2027.
Oh, don't even. Like, one of the boxes, I pulled the tops off and Greg stopped by, Gregory Nicholas, the reader, and he goes, "Oh, these are beautiful, these roses." And I'm like, yeah. I had this palette ready to ship out and be in store in time for Valentine's Day. And it shows up 2 days after. Let's not talk about that, shall we? And he's like, well, Mother Day is coming up. And I'm like, yeah, in like 3 months.
Yeah. And Easter. You got Easter coming up. I don't know.
But I have chevron roses on stems and rose quartz.
They are beautiful.
There is a really cool half yellow, half purple fluorite rose with like leaves and stuff. I'm like, again,
I saw these roses and I'm in love.
Well, hopefully I can get there early March, so I can check. I want to look at all the prints in person.
I want to make a bouquet. They're beautiful. I love them.
So working on hustling, probably will not take my day off tomorrow, depending on how much I get done today. Cause I'm like, I have to have all of this put out and priced and cleaned up in time for the psychic, lovingly referred to as psychotic fair this Sunday, which is the reschedule from January's because Snowmageddon happened and nobody went anywhere on that Sunday. So our first psychic fair of the year in the store is this Sunday, 1 to 5. And and I'm like, yeah, I have to get all of this out of the way before Sunday. Another reason why I'm like, why did you come so late? I would have had
you can offer like
10%
days off for reading if you help me price this box of.
So we've started posting some of the stuff. Calavera was doing a video as I was trying to unbox and price and weigh, and I'm like, this is really boring for them because I'm not going as fast as you're talking. So we'll be posting more, but feel free to stop in and see all the stuff, but there's still a lot to unpack and put out. But so that's what I'll be working on today, and I need to go take care of that. But we'll be back next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Not sure what we're going to talk about yet. We'll figure that out. I should start a group text, which Kathy, I would actually have you on Facebook. Maybe we'll just do it in Facebook then, because we're all on Facebook.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Are we friends on Facebook, Kathy? I don't even know. I don't go on.
We're friends here.
No, I can start the message because I'm friends with both of you, so I can start the message.
Yeah, I'll look you up. Here I'm doing.
I'm Kirby on Facebook. I have like a personal Facebook that's like personal, like family stuff. That's Kayla, and then Kirby. Yes, all of you friends can be my friends there.
Oh, you're Kirby.
Yeah, Kirby Ray.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I'm sending you a friend request now. Okay.
So the snow is almost gone here, and when I looked at the weather for next week, and I'm like, why is it getting cold again? Ew, it's gross. That's disrespectful, Mother Nature.
We have like in my yard, because I'm in a snow belt, I have like above my knees snow, and like last week my dad snow blowed a path for me through my yard so I can get out to my bird feeders, and every night now the deer come and lay just in that path because the snow's so deep. So I have this whole picture. I have this whole line of deer in the snow blow path that he made because they can't really go anywhere else. So every single night around like 10:30, the deer come and bed down just in this one narrow like snow blower strip in my yard.
Aw. I'd be out there like, let me pet your nose. Let me.
I have birdseed.
Yeah. I want to be the Disney princess and boop your snoot.
Come on in. You can see worm up here.
Yeah. I am that person. But well, thanks for joining, guys. We will be back next Wednesday. Topic yet to be figured out. We'll do that here soon.
I made a little list as we were talking, and it sounds like Kathy has some ideas too. So we'll go back. We started making lists, and then things got crazy. Medical stuff, travel, all that. So
Yep,
we'll get back on track.
So, but join us here next Wednesday, guys, at 10 a.m. for the next paranormal woo-woo talk. And have a great day, everybody.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.